Hey there, y'all. This is Hades, and today we are discussing Bleach, Thousand Year Blood War, Episode 28, Kill the King. Okay, first of all, the fight scene, I really enjoyed it, but I kind of want to address it right here, right now, because, again, it's cool to see Ichigo and Yuha Bak just, going around just thrashing each other and them throwing each other around the palaces, but that might be a problem in the next episode or two because in Bleach, the manga chapter 624, when Ichigo and his friends are falling off the palace because, well, they got knocked off by the royal guard, Yoruichi actually manages to save them by throwing some thread on Orihime's glider and pulls them up. And as that happens, Ichigo does bring up, as he talks to Yoruichi, I know we gotta hurry up, but don't we first have to figure out how to get back there again? Meaning that they're unable to make their way up to the Soul Palace, which is, of course, um, Ichigo literally was up there in the anime, and down at the palaces fighting, and then going back forth against Yuha as he continues. It's way, it's quite a ways up there. I might be able to get there if I make a foothold using my spiritual pressure, and Chad Inoue could get up there using Sentai Kenshin. But if we're attacked on on the way, will be, and then that's when excuse me, Yoruichi brings up now that they got a plan here, which of course we know when Grimjout, Neliel, and Riruka and Yukio arrived. So in the manga they do address it, but the fact that Ichigo could get up there like that fast in the anime is insane. I get it, they want to be more stealth like, but again, the enemy already knows you're down there. You all knows you're down there. The um, the royal guards know that they're already down there, but the fact that that yeah, the again we know that Uriel tried to trick Lily Barrow that he took out Ichigo, but of course, Lily Barrow more than likely sense Ichigo when Ichigo making his way up there, and yeah, to me it was just a crazy change. Again, the fight was great, but I hope they do more to address it than what we got in the manga because it's just not gonna fly well. Because again, Ichigo got what we saw in that fight. He's moving so fast; he could easily get up there. I don't see why he couldn't carry his friends up there. I mean, extremely fast. It's crazy to me. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because when I watched the episode and then I remember the chapter, I went to go look it up and I was like, okay, yeah, something's going on here. All right, okay, now let's continue on the regular episode list where we cut to the beginning of the episode with Yuha. As a young child, then we see him watching the Soul King till he's finally an adult watching this. So I don't think this is literally happening. I think it's just like well, when I say literally happening, I don't think Yuha was around when the Soul King was full. I think he's just getting a vision of this, similar to Ichigo. And then we cut to him just turning into a little baby as the Soul King's put in the crystal. Then of course Yuha starts crying, and I like to think that he's not crying for the Soul King. I actually think he's crying for all the people that have died to help Yuha get here. Now, when I say that, I mean, the that Yuha feels all the people, inside him. When as they stated in the last core, that when someone dies, Yuha receives their power, but he's also receiving their fears and everything of what's going to happen to them. So Yuha, I think he is crying for them in a sense, as he is somewhat sending, it seems to be a vision to Ichigo, which is very ambiguous. But again, they're both Quincy, so I'm assuming he could really do that. And Ichigo does sense something as they're continuing to go on, and the world starts shaking, and we get several people's point of views. And I want to point out Ryukin looking at some silver in his hand, which is going to be turn out to be the silver that came from Uryu's mother that they're going to use against Yuha. I do like that. I like that we're seeing more of it. That's really good stuff right there for sure. We also do get some more character, like slight character stuff for like Orihime later on, which is good. And I think y'all know which part I'm talking about, but it's really good that we get that to show that she's taking more of an active role, and that does wonders for her character. As we cut to U-Haul talking to the Soul King, and I love the fact that they made this change that Yuha Bakare just stabbed the Soul King before Ichigo and them got there because it's like because they fight and then he's like, yeah, I already stabbed them. And I really like that. It shows how smart Yuha is, even though he has a very very hex ability. So it's like, yeah. And of course, they notice Yuha's eyes are like odd and everything, and Ichigo's like, doesn't matter, I'm still gonna take you down. And then that's when we get an amazing fight. I'm not gonna go over the fight because again, go watch it because again, watching it is way better than anyone describing it. It's so freaking good. But the fight, we jump to the ending of the fight with Ichigo just laying flat on the ground with Yuha just hovering above him. And yeah, it's not looking good for him. As we do cut to again to some of our heroes, uh, Joshiro trying to help Kenpachi, come back, and then we see Mayuri setting up those capsule things that we'll see later on after his fight with Parnaida, where Kenpachi uses them. So yeah, it's cool to see stuff like that. And then of course we get now talking to Kisuke like, what in the world are the Quincy's? What do they really want? And then he goes on to saying, well, as Yuhal does explain that the um, Soul King Adnyeus, forgive me if I mispronounced his name. I probably did, so my apologies. Essentially, he saw the destruction of the Quincy's and he never really did anything to try to help them. He just didn't do anything. It was just like, yeah, they're here, but they're gonna die. Not that he really could, but the fact that it's like Yuhal's like, well, he saw all this happening. Like he saw all this happening. He has the Almighty, similar to Yuhal, I'm assuming, probably not the exact same, but similar enough that he foresaw the destructions of the Quincy's, and he did nothing to even try to stop it. So Yuhal's not happy about that whatsoever. And again, I get where Yuhal Box coming from, but it's like, I mean, this whole kid can't really do anything about it. But I do get the rage Yuhal would have, of the Soul Reapers trying to exterminate them before, and yeah, that their existence is literally a threat to the world. They'll throw the worlds off balance, and who knows what would happen after that. But Yuhal just wants to kill the Soul King and reemerge all three worlds together, and so that way, again, spoilers for the ending of Bleach. So yeah, I'm gonna spoil the ending of Bleach of what Yuha wants to do at the end. All right, 3, 2, 1. You've been warned. He wants to make a world where no one will die. That all the three worlds are merged together, and that way people would not have the fear of death no more. So again, a very interesting take on a villain, on his motives of what he wants to do, and the fact that he wants to do that. I do think it's more. Again, I do think it's somewhat of a selfish reason, as in he's not really doing this for everyone. It's more of a fact that he wants to, I guess like not have people, being scared and terrifying and their powers going to him, and he's feeling those same emotions. I do kind of think it's a bit of a selfish. I don't think he's doing this out of a righteous cause. I do think it's somewhat curiosity of how the world will be, but I don't think it's a righteous whatsoever. And then that's when Ichigo moves in for an attack, and Orihime right there heals Ichigo as he's going in for an attack, which again, that's a good moment there for Orihime, showing being very proactive. I really like that. That'll go far when we see her again, helping Ichigo fight Yuha. And then we cut to Ichibe saying, again, we all know he's, I'm sorry, humans, but you guys cannot defeat Yuha. As he stabs his brush on the ground, and then he says, that's what peace is all about. Isn't that right, Yuha Bak? I have no idea what he's referring to right there. Does he know that Yuhabak's just gonna absorb the Soul King and not let the whole world get destroyed? That's very possible. But if you all have any ideas, let me know what you guys think. And of course, Yuha and Ichigo clash for a little bit, and it's just a distraction for Yoruichi to set up a trap. But of course, he just burns out, and that burns the giant curtain covering the Soul King, and we see right there, Yuha already stabbed the Soul King. And yeah, everyone's worried, oh, freak, did you kill him? But Yoruichi's like, nah, he ain't dead yet. Ichigo jumps right to the sword, attempts to pull it out, which, good on Ichigo being very, very proactive. But of course, this was something Yuha saw coming as he put a bit of his energy into the sword to activate Ichigo's Quincy's abilities, and Ichigo right there then slices the Soul King in half. which leaves everyone terrified at this what happened. And the Soul King just right there cut in half as Yuha explains to Ichigo how Ichigo is able to just kill the Soul King right here. Then as he says to completely break the Soul King's seal, I needed someone who possesses the powers of Quincy's, humans, Soul Reapers, Fullbringers, and Hollows. I needed you who possessed all of them. I needed you who possessed all of them. It was all for this exact moment. For you in the end of the life of the Soul King in front of my eyes. Okay. This is one of those moments in Bleach where it's like super, super contrived that Ichigo has all these powers. But I do think that if Ichigo, let's just say Ichigo didn't have full bring, let's just say that. If Ichigo didn't have full bring, I do think Yuha would somewhat capture Ichigo and force him to have full bring abilities. Just do whatever means it take to get him to do that. Also, the fact that Ichigo, holy cow! Like if Ichigo was never born, I do see a fact where Yuha would definitely try to have people commit experiments on people to try to get this hypothetical hybrid baby, essentially. And I think he would do whatever means necessary to do so. But the hardest part would be, well, they'd be mixing with a hollow, which hollows are poisonous to Quincy. So this would seem like an impossible task. But the fact that Ichigo is just this or like variable that just no one ever saw coming, that just an experiment that just happened to be like perfect. Like yeah, that's for sure crazy. Like very very much so. So yeah, a bit contrived. I'm not gonna lie, but I could see you all going to a bunch of different ways to try to get this done. But let's continue with the review as the Soul King just blows up like Sauron from Lord of the Rings, which starts shaking all three worlds. As everyone realizes, yeah, the Soul King's probably dead, and that's the end of chapter. End of chapter. Excuse me. End of episode. Kill the King. Bleach. Number 28. So overall, I really like this episode, but the only thing that drags it down is, again, it's just so convenient that Ichigo's like the perfect being to be able to be born around this time that Yuha was to be born 9,909 years, or regain his memory, excuse me, his powers and everything, 909 years in that time. Like that's insane that someone like this was created. But I do feel that Yuha would be able to do stuff to go get around it. But that's another talk for another thing. So overall, I will give this episode oh man, a 6 out of 10 just for how contrived it is, and this is the only way Yuha's plan works from what we've seen. Everything else, like I mentioned earlier in the episode, where Ichigo should be able to jump up to the Soul Palace. That's for the next episode. If that next episode doesn't give a better explanation than we got in the manga, because again, the manga, Ichigo was not throwing around Yuha, and Yuha was not throwing around Ichigo to the other Soul Palaces, the Zero Squad's palaces. So yeah, that'll be up to the next episode to figure that one out. But yeah, that concludes my review. If you think I've been a little too harsh, let me know. But yeah, anyway, hope you guys have a great day and take care. Later.